So I would like to restart with the introduction of Mr. Vivek Ranjan. Vivek Ranjan, sir. He's a 1988 batch IRS officer, a B.Tech from IIT Delhi, who started his career from Allahabad. He has worked in the board, including TRU and coordination, in CBN Gwalior, in DG Systems and Data Management, in DG Export Promotion, DGRI, DGCI, and yes, I'm happy to share that he has also worked in DGTS. He has undergone the training course on harmonized system and classification at Japan. He is currently working as the Principal Chief Commissioner, CGST and Central Excise, Ahmedabad Zone. With this brief introduction, sir, I would like to invite you for an inaugural speech. Mr. Vivek Ranjan, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Verma. Good afternoon to all. At the outset, let me express my gratitude to DGTS Mumbai for giving me this opportunity to be a part of the webinar on such an important issue. Social media is truly a powerful media. The word powerful has many connotations, such as having great power, capable of exerting great force, producing great effect, and being great in quantity and number. And all of these characterizes what social media is. In order to appreciate the same, let us briefly look at the global evolution of social media. The first true social media site, called 6degrees.com, was born in 1997, wherein one could set up a profile page, create list of contacts, and send messages within networks. But the real breakthrough came in 2004 with the launch of the Facebook in 2004. The was dropped the next year, following year. Facebook registered 1 million users in the same year. That was the power of this media. Twitter and YouTube also took flight in 2006. US government appears to be the first government to join Facebook in April 2009. In less than 2 decades, it has become so ubiquitous and pervasive that presence and activity on social media is no longer a question of choice for governments and governmental agencies. Political arena, for understandable reason, was one of the first to react to these changes by using platforms such as Twitter and Facebook to rally support, to ask for votes and so on. And therefore, it was a natural follow-up that government institutions slowly caught up and increasingly experimented with social media. India also did not lag behind. MEA appears to be the first one to have joined social media as far as India is concerned, and that year happens to be 2008-9. Thereafter, other organizations have joined. I'll give you a brief number profiles in a second from now. But good practices of purposeful and mission-oriented institutional use of social media exist in railways, in MEA, and also in our department, CBIC. As far as numbers are concerned and the year of joining is concerned, PMO joined Facebook in 2014, Twitter in 2012, January 2012, and YouTube Feb of 2012. They have a follow. I will only mention the follow subscriber on Twitter. Follower is a little less. So PMO has a following of 5.2 crore on Twitter. And on YouTube channel, they have a following of 18.7 lakh. The railways joined these social media in the year 2014, July 2014. They have a 20 lakh subscriber on Facebook, 76 lakhs on Twitter, and nearly 5 lakh on YouTube channel. CBIC joined, and when I was there, I remember those days we were called by MOS. And in that meeting, both CBIC and CBDT were asked to register their presence on social media. So we joined Facebook in July 2015, Twitter again in July 2015. YouTube channel was a little later next year. We have presently a following of 4.1 lakh on Facebook and 5.9 lakh, nearly 6 lakh on Twitter. YouTube has 30,000 followers. CBDT joined a little later, Twitter, they joined Twitter in November 2015. They have a followership of 13 lakh. Now coming back to the main subject, as far as CBIC is concerned, as you mentioned briefly in my profile, I have had the privilege of being associated with adoption of social media for organizational goals in 2015 and its utilization prior to and during the launch of GST in July 2017 was the high point, or was high point, my high point, I must say. The quest for good governance leads to an establishment of an efficient citizen-centric governance. This requires systemic changes along with IT, making it possible to reduce time and trouble involved in citizens' contact with governmental agency. I'm using IT in a broader sense to include both e-governance initiative and social media initiative. At this point, let me just step back and explore the background as to where CBIC stood, or CBIC in those days stood, while such momentous developments were taking place. I would briefly mention an episode which would highlight the problems of communication and legal complication that arose from it in the 1990s. Then notifications issued under indirect taxation laws came into force on the date of its issue by the government for publication in the official gazette. All the notifications issued were being delivered on the date of issue to the Government of India Press for publication in the gazette, but publication of gazette often took time, and therefore it became available to the public with some delay. Such notifications were challenged on the ground of late availability to the public, which led to amendment in Section 5A of the Central Excise Act and Section 25 of Customs Act in 1998. Both these sections were amended to provide that every notification shall also be published and offered for sale on the date of its issue by DPPR, which is now known as DGTS. But you understand the implication and the limitation of even this measure. It was available only in Delhi because DPPR happened to be based in Delhi at that point in time. It had no regional units. The second ARC, that is Administrative Reforms Commission, was formed in August 2005 with the objective of preparing a blueprint for revamping the public administrative system, in particular suggesting measures for achieving a proactive, responsive and accountable administration for governance. ARC submitted 15 subject-wise reports on various specific subjects, which included right to information, ethics in governance, promoting e-governance, and citizen-centric administration, among others. CBIC was identified, as we all understand, as one of the top 10 central government organizations with maximum public contact, and hence was targeted for improvement in public service delivery in the first lot of institutions. On the second ARC recommendation came the Right to Information Act, which we all know by now. It has more than 17 years of operation, which required public authorities to proactively place in public domain information on a wide array of subjects. In fact, there are 17 topics under which we are supposed to place this information. But it also made mandatory for public authorities to respond to specific queries of the citizens. Another initiative was Sevottam. It was again adopted by CBIC with the objective of improving quality of public service delivery. Sevottam rests on three pillars, namely Citizens Charter, laying down of quantifiable service standards, and a robust grievance handling system known as CPGRAMs. And the third and most important leg was capacity building exercise in terms of BIS standards known as IS 15700-2005. Under this, many of the commissioners have been certified as Sevottam compliant from time to time. Another important issue to be highlighted in this regard is TFA, that is Trade Facilitation Agreement, which came into effect from 22nd of February 2017. Article 1 of TFA relates to publication and availability of information. This article requires member countries to promptly publish the information in an easily accessible manner in order to enable traders and other interested parties to become acquainted with a lot of rules concerning exim. Information required to be published, as you understand, include procedure for importation, exportation, transit, the forms required for various exim purposes, applied rates of duties and taxes imposed on import and export of goods, uh, restrictions and prohibitions that are imposed in connection with again import and export of goods, fees and charges imposed by government agency, rules for classification, valuation, etc. Article 3 requires even presently member country to establish or maintain one or more inquiry points to answer inquiries of traders and other interested parties on matters concerning, as I said, wherever we are supposed to make the information, publish the information, make it available. So you understand all these require in a sense trade facilitation measure, and we needed a media which could do all this quickly enough and economically enough. The aforesaid matters underlined the need for a media which could transmit the information to the trade and other stakeholders quickly and economically. For any organization dealing with taxation, it is particularly useful and necessary for quick dissemination of policy decision and announcements such as changes in rules and regulations, notifications, circulars, instructions, etc. Social media happened to be the answer. It transformed the way in which organizations could connect with the stakeholders and the manner in which information is shared and distributed. Social media thus represented innovation in public service delivery and governmental operations. Social media is different from traditional media such as radio, print, television in many significant ways, and some of which I will discuss now. Speed. Its USP lies in instantaneous spread of information quickly, easily, and economically. The reach and speed of spread is at a pace which is not known to humankind in the past. Democratization. They amplify some of the democratization effect of internet on public information services. They provide opportunity to deliver on the expectations that are not met by traditional governmental service. Empowerment. These platforms empower individuals and non-traditional interest groups as they can access information as easily and speedily as anybody else. You do not need to have your representatives who could go across to North Block or any other ministry, Udyog Bhavan, and get a copy of the notification. Social media have proven their potential also to citizens by escalating issues seeking resolution. And all of us are aware of many such examples in CBI. The delays in export-import documentation processes, they have been brought to the notice of the minister, the ministry, and so on, and they have been responded quickly. And the delays, incidentally, more than 24 hours is considered to be a delay. So we do have a very responsive system. Coming back to the main topic, social media provides a two-way dynamic communication process. It has the potential to make policy processes more inclusive and thereby reinforce confidence between government and citizens. Governments are increasingly using these collaborative platforms to crowdsource ideas, suggestions and feedback. And one such example is MyGov seeking feedback of citizens for the budget. In fact, Aditya would be aware, this platform was also used during launch of GST for creating awareness for quizzes and so on, and also for seeking feedback. Social media platforms have led to an increase in transparency, accountability, and public engagement. Effective use can help in increasing public trust in departments and increase more citizens to comply with taxation laws. Voluntary compliance, increasing voluntary compliance happens to be one of the objectives that we have been following. A word of caution here though, risks are also inherent in the benefits of this media. Since the posts can be instantaneously broadcast to the subscriber, we need to be extremely careful. And there have been cases of mistakes which have invited avoidable trolling. What is the way to go for us now? While a lot has been done, a lot can be done in many areas such as public service delivery, consulting, and involving the population in policy processes, transforming public service delivery. For us, regional and particularly linguistic diversity presents a huge challenge and opportunity in making content available in languages easily understood by different segments of population. We now have to cater to a taxpayer base of 1.4 crore spread over the length and breadth of the country, and substantial number of them are from the MSME sector who would be more conversant with the content in their vernacular language. More efficient trade facilitation is one of the expectations governments have from their social media initiative. Trade facilitation, as you all know, is an ongoing and dynamic exercise and can be best described as taking its text from the context, getting its contours from surrounding landscape, and molding its shape according to pulls and pressures of the time. Thus, the objective should be to achieve holistic stakeholders experience with public service delivery, and towards that objective, best solution would be to optimize and use of e-government initiative and social media platform. It is therefore important to make more use of social media towards realization of tangible benefits for the user and society. As social media has become more pervasive, this has allowed us to use such information to understand people's needs and behavior. The challenge is to mine social media activities to obtain insights for better quality of service delivery related to taxation. Another area is to find ways to appraise the impact of social media on people's satisfaction with public service delivery in general, and also on transparency and trade facilitation. It is commendable that DGTS Mumbai has taken up the initiative in identifying the need for a webinar on such an important issue for the benefit of officers and staff of CBIC to make effective use of this communication. I wish the webinar every success and hope at the end of the program, officers would feel themselves more equipped to use the social media platforms. Let me end with a quote from Mahabharata. In governance is realized all the forms of renunciation. In governance is combined all knowledge. In governance is centered all the words. Thank you and Jai Hind. I have taken a little more time, but I'm sorry for that.
Sir, thank you for such a comprehensive presentation. You started from the power of social media, 6degree.com, extended up to the Administrative Reforms Commission, Sivottam, the TFA, the transformation of information dissemination, and ending with the quote from Mahabharata. So, such a comprehensive coverage in such a short time. Thank you very much, sir. With this, now I would like to invite Shri B. Narayanan. He's an officer from 1990 batch of Indian Information Service, currently posted as Director General, Northeastern Region, Guwahati, heading both the PIB as well as the Central Bureau of Communication. He has been head of social media cell of the PIB in New Delhi for 6 years from 2014 onwards, and has also set up the fact check unit of the PIB in 2019. He headed the new media wing of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting as an additional degree. He holds a master's degree in public policy and sustainable development from Tehri University and has published papers in journals of repute. A prolific speaker, we welcome you, sir. And I would like to introduce the rest of the panelists after his speech. Mr. B. Narayanan, sir, please.
Thank you very much.
Would you, sir, just a minute. Kotian, are you posting the presentation or you want me to start with it?
No, sir, I'm posting it because I've been made a presenter.
Good. Please start with the presentation. And in the meanwhile, Mr. Narayan, you may start with, please.
Yeah. So, Mr. Vivek Ranjan, Principal Chief Commissioner of CGST, Ahmedabad Zone, my friend Dr. Rajesh Kumar Verma, ADG, and also moderator of the session, and my friends and colleagues. It's a pleasure talking to all of you. And I heard that very detailed summary from Mr. Vivek Ranjan, and it was very illuminating to me to see how you people have reached out using social media. And indeed, I mean, in comparison with some of the other departments of the central government, I think that your team is much ahead compared to the rest. So I don't really think that you people really need any kind of expert advice from me on social media. But nevertheless, I would like to maybe make some few remarks here and there which may be useful to all of you. So I request that the first PowerPoint may be shared here. So what I would do is that I have two PowerPoints, and I roughly have, I think, around 45 minutes. So I'd like to split up 20 minutes for both the PowerPoint, and then we could have a discussion and Q&A. So I'd start with the connection between social media, the code of conduct, civil servants. So all these connected issues I'd like to briefly go over. Next slide, please. So we always make this mistake of thinking that we are not public persons. Social media has made public persons of all of us. That includes not just celebrities, but even the average government officer on the street. We think that we have a public life and we have a private life, but the distinction has been blurred by social media. So first thing is, I'd like to, we always keep thinking that, okay, who is watching? Who is watching us on social media? I mean, I'm here talking about both official social media and private social media. So next slide, please. This is a very important thing. As you know, the civil services are a very hierarchical structure. The first question you really need to ask yourself is your boss on your network? So if you look at it, most likely, yes, he is. Because, for instance, 1 out of every 4 Indians is on Facebook. That's a tremendous population. That's more than maybe any other country in the world. And if you look at YouTube, similar statistics. Instagram is of course growing now, but the younger audience is on Instagram in a very major way. Twitter is not there yet, but yes, for journalists, Twitter is the bread and butter. So the media is there on Twitter in a big way, and all breaking news breaks on Twitter in a big way. So the summary is that yes, not only your boss, every other person in your circle and your neighborhood is on social media. And next one, please. And of course, the elephant in the room is WhatsApp. So WhatsApp, as you can see, the numbers are tremendous. I'm sure that this is 2021 statistics. It must be much more now in 2023. So WhatsApp looks as though it's a closed network, but it's not, because anybody can take a screenshot of what you have posted on WhatsApp. Anybody can forward what you have posted. You don't really know all the people who are there on a big group. So yes, WhatsApp is also almost a public social media. Next one, please. So this is the conclusion that social media is so prevalent that we are all extremely visible. That means your clients, your peers, your competition, and you don't even know who are the people who are gathering information about you by searching on Google, by searching on your public posts, by searching your Twitter, your Instagram. In fact, when we interview prospective candidates for our social media cell, we always do a vetting of the candidates by going to their WhatsApp, to their Twitter, to their Instagram, and having a look at the quality of what they post, what are the political inclinations, what are their private obsessions. All this is out there for us to find, and I'm sure that this is sooner or later going to be the norm across the world. Even if you apply for a job, you go and meet somebody, they will definitely do some background check on you using social media. Yeah, next one, please. So why do we why do we want to be? I mean, our generation, which is the 60s and the early 70s generations, maybe we are not having the urge to be on social media to the extent that maybe some of the latest batches and the younger officers of all our services are. But still, we do, mostly our generation, we are on Facebook, for instance. So why are we on both private social media, say Facebook? It's like you want to say something. You want to say something about something, maybe about your holiday, about maybe you want to say something about a good book you read, so or maybe some movie you watched, etc., etc. So it's basically for self-expression, and that becomes more and more as you grow younger and younger. So so I would say that age has a great part to play in how many social media platforms you're on, what do you use them for, what do you say on them. Yeah, next please. I hope this font is a little fine here because there's too much of text here, but I would always, there are some general guidelines which you really need to use even if you're on your private social media. One is to put a disclaimer, especially on Twitter, that the views you're saying are not in official capacity and they are your own, and that you're retweeting or any sharing any content is not an endorsement. I think, yeah, okay, that's better. Yeah, nice. So, oh, I think we have gone ahead. Can you just go back? Yeah, that's fine. So, similarly, do not use any official emblem on your personal social media. Don't mix your personal and official social media. It is better to have, like for instance, I as DG Northeast, I have an official handle, and it's authenticated, verified handle in which I only post about our activities in Northeast, and it only talks about government activities. I don't talk at all about the movie I saw, the food I ate. I don't talk about anything on that. And I have my own private handle, which is unverified, which on which I post these things. So, and I just keep them separately. I have a totally different posting policies for both these official and private handles, for my Twitter handles. That goes for my Instagram handle also. We have Instagram handles for my office, in which we basically cover great photographs, government photographs, activities, etc. And I have my own personal Instagram in which I do a lot of touring in the Northeast, for instance. So I put in all the stuff which interests me, which includes history, which includes monuments, which includes food, which includes scenery, and I just keep them separate. So don't have an overlap between your official and your private one. Third point is that whether it's official or your private media, do not violate copyright laws or intellectual property. Don't, for instance, take a good picture which you have seen somewhere and post it without saying where you got that picture from. And why is that so? One, of course, is the ethical reasons why you should not be, actually amounts to stealing intellectual property. You should not be doing that. Second is that, you know, especially on an office page, if you borrow any photographs or any videos or any tunes, you will get a strike notice. It's called a strike. The strike notice which you'll get from Facebook, you'll get from Twitter, you'll get from other social media, so in which they will lock you out of your page if there's a complaint. So this often occurs to us in PIB, for instance, because what happens is that there is a public function in which some Bollywood song is playing at the back. So that is picked up during the video, and many of these Bollywood music companies have automated software which immediately sends a complaint to Twitter or Facebook, and they immediately lock you out. So it takes you some 24 hours to get back your control of your own social media platform. So it is very essential not to steal intellectual property. It's very important, and that applies to your private handle also. Be meticulous in giving credit where it's due. And the last point, of course, is this as senior government officers, all of you know, do not reveal confidential information, which you know in an official capacity. This is very relevant to, especially in, say, services like the police, Indian Police Service. I was in National Police Academy 2-3 months back. And one of the major problems they were facing is that young police officers who were posted as SPs or SSPs in a district, they are actually revealing and making announcement about the criminal cases which they are dealing on their private Twitter handles. So what happens is that they immediately get followers, especially the media follows them on the Twitter handles, etc., etc. And being young, it gives them a kind of high to know that, okay, they got in 1 month they got a following of say 40,000 followers or 50,000 followers. So actually this is information. So this leads to a lot of problems. So this is picked up by media. They take a screenshot of the particular tweet, etc., etc. So social media information, whatever you get in your official capacity, don't put it out on your private handle. So this especially is a problem with some of the services like IAS, IPS, and I don't know, I'm not very sure about your service, but yes, the younger officers really need to be warned about this. Next one, please. Another one is that do not show emotions, either in your private or in your public posts. Do not show emotion, and do not be disrespectful of any community, whether that is the LGBT community, whether it's women, it's the minorities. It's just not done. It's not social media etiquette. You're not in your private living room that you can get away with putting stuff like that or talking in this disrespectful way about these sections. So always remember that people are watching you, and you're a public figure. You may think that I have only 100 followers or 200 followers, but let me assure you that you can get into trouble with those 200 followers also if somebody were to really look into your Twitter following or your Facebook. And a lot of us, especially from our generation, we don't really know the settings. We don't know when to put private settings on Facebook so that people cannot see it. Most of us, if you go and look through the Facebook timelines of most of the people of our generation, you will find that it's all public. All the posts are public because we don't know how to put in private settings for the posts. So you'll find that all our photos, all our comments can be read by anybody who's not even a friend of our Facebook profile. And lastly, pseudo identities are not a good idea. I mean, you know, we've all been there in government for many years, 20 years, 25 years. We also have our political views, but we have signed it away because we are government servants. So we think, why don't we have a fake profile and say things which we otherwise can't say? But let me tell you that we have software which traces, which you can be traced. So these pseudo identities are not a good idea. You may write something about say the leader of some other country using a pseudo identity, but one of the days you will land up in that country and you will have trouble with their airport because they would have traced your identity and they know who you are, and they know exactly what kind of posts you made. So coming up with pseudo identities on social media is never a good idea. Yeah, next one, please. Yeah, the next slide, please. Is there a problem? Yeah. Why isn't we? Can we just get on to the next one? So here is a simple formula. Think when you post. You can say, is this true? Do not post something either on Facebook, Twitter, or WhatsApp without knowing it's true. Don't say that it's forwarded as received. Find out whether it's true. Do not forward unless it's true. Is it going to be helpful to the group or to others to post this? Or are you just going to post something which is going to whip up people's passions? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary to post at all? And is it kind? Kind means, is it politically correct? Does it look good? So this is a framework, and like we have all these photographs which you will find on Facebook, on WhatsApp, in which you take photo, you whip out your cell phone and start taking photographs of your colleagues. Some of them have had 3 or 4 pegs. They look tipsy, and you've taken their photograph, and you're in a hurry to post it. You go back home and you put it in a WhatsApp group which has some 100 people, all glassy-eyed photographs, you know. So it is always better to ask permission before you post photographs of people. Okay, so that, and another thing is that do not think that you're so adept at multitasking that you will carry on with your social media during office hours also. It does distract from your office work, degrades the quality of your office work if you are going to be using your private social media when you're at work. In places like US, it is totally banned. You cannot do that. It's forbidden. But in government, we are a bit more relaxed. But even then, even if there is no specific prohibition, but still it is better not to open your private social media at all during your office hours. There might be inappropriate photographs, there might be inappropriate jokes. So it's not a good idea that you're having a long meeting going on and you think, why don't I just browse down my feed, my Instagram feed, while my boss is droning on. So don't do it. And above all, project an image of being polite and respectful on social media. It helps you. Yeah, next one, please. Yeah, so this is, of course, like they say, dance as though no one is watching, but on social media, just remember everybody is watching you dance. Check with seniors before adding them to WhatsApp groups. So this, you see, we always know that in the government, especially in civil service, you need to go through the hierarchy. So just because your boss is on WhatsApp, your boss or your super boss is on WhatsApp, just don't bypass your boss and send messages directly to your super boss. That's not WhatsApp etiquette, especially for officers. Don't do that. Similarly, don't keep adding people without checking with them to WhatsApp groups. So, like for instance, currently I must be on something like 20 to 25 WhatsApp groups. I'm sure that most of you will also be on that kind of WhatsApp groups. So I've activated a setting in which without asking my permission, they can't add me to WhatsApp groups, because I find this is happening all the time. So it's better to check with seniors. Similarly, official code, this is absolute common sense, must be free of forwarded message and good morning messages. Yeah, next one, please. So all this we have already talked about. Be polite, etc., and share information only when you know it's authentic. Don't share information when it's not authentic. Yeah, next one. So this is like, never lose your spelling and grammar. So you see, I mean, English is a language. YOU is you. Just you is not you. So a lot of us have this what do you call impatience in typing things. So we try to use these U's instead of YOU's and other kind of ways. We think, okay, spelling is not important, grammar is not important, but it's not true. It's really not true. I mean, whatever you say, at the end of the day, India is still, as our Prime Minister says, we are still having that colonial hangover. So more or less, you're judged at least in the senior echelons of the service on how good your English is, how good your spelling is. So just because you're on WhatsApp or social media, just don't think that grammar and spelling are not important. It is. Similarly, don't split your message into too many lines. Why don't you just put out a consolidated paragraph instead of the kind of stuff which you see on the on the side, where they put out so many impatient messages which are all broken up, waiting for a response. I mean, that's like it stresses the other person out. Always better to put out a message, whether it's official WhatsApp or private WhatsApp, and wait for some time for a response. It could be Sunday morning and you're sending a text to your subordinate and you want him to respond within the next 2 minutes, not understanding that the cell phone may be in a room, or he may be taking a bath, or he may be taking a walk. I mean, we need to wait for a response. And on social media, we need to project calm, whether it's WhatsApp, whether it's too many exclamation marks, too many, especially our generation, we use a lot of capitalization. Capitalization amounts to shouting on social media. That's the equivalent of shouting. So don't use capitals. And another disease we have is to record audio messages on WhatsApp especially and send it to people. Now, if they want to listen to that message, they will have to put it on and listen. And they may be in a cinema auditorium, they may be in a metro, they'll be in a car, they may be in a public place. So for them to listen to it, they will have to actually switch on the audio and listen to it, which is not convenient all the time. So it's better to just have a text message than an audio message. Yeah, next one, please. So we have the CCS conduct rules. Right now, DOPT has not actually framed any rules on how government officers should conduct themselves on social media. But you have all these CCS conduct rules which have all these phrases and sentences which can cover a lot of your conduct on social media. They're all catch-all phrases. So like you have this, you have stuff like maintain absolute integrity, maintain devotion to duty. Next slide, please. So next slide, please. So you have all these. The most important is conduct unbecoming of a government servant. Now this particular phrase, for instance, can be applied to anything you do on social media also. So government has so far kept it delightfully vague, so that like there was a move to actually frame social media conduct rules for government officers, but I mean, for the time being, it's stalled. But you have, when you have phrases like conduct unbecoming of a government servant, so that can be used everywhere for any of conduct found unbecoming of social media. So there is also this rule, which is a bit tricky, which says that the direction of official superior shall ordinarily be in writing, and oral direction to subordinates will be avoided. So now, what is the status of something which is received on WhatsApp? Many of us have these office WhatsApp groups, and we receive orders on WhatsApp. This especially is there of my ministry and my organizations, where we work 24/7, and we get oral directions on WhatsApp. So the thing is that it's still not very clear. This again is an unclear area, because technology has clearly outpaced our rule making. So it's not very clear, but what I would recommend is that if you get a tricky direction from your superiors, just take a screenshot and keep it. Just take a screenshot and keep it, so that in case it would ordinarily amount to a written direction from a superior. So it's always better to keep a screenshot of a order. And the second part of it, that a government servant who has received oral direction shall seek confirmation of the same in writing. Again, this is highly tricky about when you receive any order on social media, especially on WhatsApp. But I would say that maybe it would be better, even if you have received something on WhatsApp, to actually record on a file and take written confirmation, maybe the next day, the next working day, something. It's better, especially in sensitive issues. Next one, please. So this we have already talked to about how maintaining hierarchy is important in the government, and whether access does not give you liberties. As you know, in government, it doesn't really pay to sidestep your boss and go on to the next level just because you have that technology which enables you to do that. Yeah, thank you. Okay. I'll have a look at the next slide. I think I have another 15 minutes. So just 10 minutes. Yeah, 15 minutes I have. 30. 15 minutes I have. Yeah. So kindly put on the other.
The next set of slides, I may add, is one of the most colorful presentations I have seen, sir. I happened to preview before it is actually put up to the participants. It's a very quiet and neat way of putting up facts across.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I did it in that way because actually I want us to actually loosen our ties and enjoy social media. You see, you do anything very well only when you enjoy it. So social media is one of those places where you really, it's not that you're tolerating social media and you're uncomfortable on social media. You need to be actually enjoy social media. So one of the reasons why I did a colorful PowerPoint like this is that to show that we need to be non-sarkari on social media. We need to avoid our government jargon. We need to use the kind of language people are using, the informal language people are using, to really be accessible on social media. So I'll just go through this now. Almost all government departments, there are teams working on social media, and passwords are shared among them. So this is a big issue in the sense that if the password leaks, anybody can hack and put anything on your social media. So how do you do this? Now in PMO, for instance, the password to the PM's Twitter handle, for instance, is known to only one person. It's not known to anybody else. Only one person posts on that. Nobody else posts on that. So that is possible for PMO, but it's not really possible for many of us, where we have all these duty hours, and we have other work also to attend to. So we have teams. So what do we do? So one way of doing this is you have posting software, social media posting software like Hootsuite, for instance. Social Flow is there. These are all posting software where people can post using the software, but the password will remain with only one person. So your team may consist of outsourced persons or other team members, but they will not know the password. The password will be with you. That's one major issue which we have. Like in PIB, for instance, our password was distributed at one point in time between 19 people. So when something got posted wrongly, we found that we couldn't trace at all who's the person who's posted it, and we couldn't really call anybody to account. So this is a big issue with many organizations. Second point is mistakes. You were referring to mistakes which take place, and the Principal Chief Commissioner was also referring to mistakes that take place. Now it is going to take place everywhere. It takes place with PIB periodically, once in a couple of months. It took place with ADGPI, which is Army's social media handle. It takes place everywhere. So what do you do with it? The thing is that you need to have an error correction protocol. So to brazen it out and say that there were no mistakes is no solution. Now, for instance, if you look at New York Times, they publish something called errata next day, which puts out the entire list of mistakes which went in the previous day's newspaper. So there could be somebody who was referred to as John, but he was called Johnson. Some country's capital was wrongly put. So they publish all the mistakes which are there. So to err is human. So it's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. The social media world gets upset when you don't accept that there has been a mistake done and you try to brazen it out. So you might have heard about the mistake we made in which that Prime Minister had gone to Chennai when there were some floods, and and he was looking at the flooded countryside through a helicopter window. Now, one of our bright photographers had this idea of posting that photo, of trimming that photo using Photoshop and putting it in the window of the helicopter. So obviously, the thing was caught out and it went viral on social media. And we took 2 days to apologize for it. And when we apologized for it also after 2 days, we said that, oh, this is our usual, this is the usual stuff we do and there is anything really wrong with it. So this kind of partial apology angered the people even more. So it is, when you make a mistake, it is better to close and don't try to delete it, because deleting is not going to work, because people are going to take screenshots of it. So cover up is not going to work. So it's better to say, yes, this mistake happened and we are sorry about it, and we are putting in place protocol to ensure that such kind of mistakes don't take place. Another thing which happens is private social media versus official. What happens is that many of us, we have configured both our like for instance, in a normal cell phone, you can put 3 Twitter handles together. So sometimes we think that we are on our private Twitter, but actually we are on our official Twitter. So we don't realize that, and we share our private views on official Twitter, for instance. So this happens with a lot of people. It's happened with a lot of people. So we need to be really, really careful. So we need to actually keep our private social media on a private cell phone, and keep official social. If you're a regular poster for your department, you need to really keep your official social media on a different cell phone altogether. Don't toggle between the various social medias on the same cell phone. It's risky. It's happened to a lot of people. It's happened to me also. So I put this photograph of my niece thinking that I'm putting it out on my private social media. And actually it went on PIB social media, which had something like 1.5 million followers. This happened some 7 years back. So you can imagine what must have happened after that. So, and another point is that circulate do's and don'ts to your department people. Whenever you have a team of more than one, it's always better to circulate a detailed list of do's and don'ts to your regional offices, to your department offices. It's absolutely essential to have a policy, of what you'll post, what you won't post, what is a Facebook page, what is a Facebook profile, whether you will authenticate them, whether there'll be one Twitter handle, one YouTube gallery per office, or whether there'll be one for the entire department. Better to have entire uniform nomenclature for them. So, for instance, if you don't do all this, each fellow who's operating your social media handle will have his own interpretation, and he will do something. There will not be any policy uniformity. So we need to really circulate it. And last one is real time versus delayed response. Social media is a thing which is totally unforgiving. So you cannot have a situation where you're going to wait for everything to fall in place before giving your response. It's not going to happen. So it's better, whether it's a Saturday, it's a Sunday, it's night, you need to have a response mechanism which will immediately respond. So otherwise your viewpoint will not be heard. The story will go viral before your viewpoint is ever heard. So this is not the olden days where some article would be published in a newspaper, and you will collect all the facts and figures and send a detailed rebuttal to the editor of the paper, saying that, okay, these things you said, kindly you publish my rebuttal with the same prominence on your page. The social media is not like that. So you need to immediately get back to them. This is where government departments always fail, because there's a huge hierarchy. So the joint secretary cannot take a decision. He has to appeal to the secretary. The secretary has to go to the minister. Sometimes the minister has to take a reply from PMO. So finally, after 2 days, we are coming up with a response. That's too late. So these are all some of the operational issues I've seen in my 7 years of working with the Ministry of INB and with the PIB. So I thought I'll just flag them here. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, I think the animation is a bit, I mean, it's a bit flashy. So you see, social media is also, it's like we just fire a gun in a dark room and we don't know where it's gone. We need to know what has happened after you've done the post. What is the reach of the post? Who has read the post? What is the time when it's consumed the most? Which of your posts was the most attractive in terms of engagement? So you have all these analytics which is available. You have in-house analytics. For instance, if you can go onto your Facebook page, and you will know there's a tab called analytics, and it will tell you which post of yours has reached the most people. And similarly for Twitter, you can find out which post of yours attracted the most impressions, which post of yours has been the most popular that month, for instance. You can do all that, and that's all totally freely available. You don't need to buy anything. Same thing for YouTube, same thing for you don't need to buy anything. It's all available there. So for smaller offices which are on social media, in-house analytics is already available. So that will allow you to understand who is actually following you on social media and who you are actually reaching out to. Apart from that, there is also off-the-shelf software. This costs money. So you have stuff like Meltwater, which automatically trawls through a lot of posts online and tells you. They use artificial intelligence. So there's something called a natural language algorithm, NLA. So this NLA goes through all this and gives you a sentiment analysis of what people are feeling about some particular policy. So depending on the number of posts they are trawling through, there are rates for this. We are using it in the government. We have been using it in the government to find out the sentiment analysis about key policies of the government, and we do reports for various senior officers in the government. We do that. So you can also buy it if you really want to find out what is the sentiment analysis. Private companies are offering it. Oracle is offering it. You have a lot of Radiant 6 is one of the softwares. Many of them are there. But on the whole, I'm finding that they are not really artificial intelligence is not advanced to the point where it should be. That's partly because, like at least in PIB, for instance, we are giving them new topics to analyze every day. So machine learning is not taking place. Whereas if every day you have to feed the same topic in, machine learning will take place and analysis will be much more accurate. So if you want to find out about some particular tax policy which you have introduced, maybe it will be a good idea to have this off-the-shelf software to give you a breakup of the sentiment about it. Government software is available. This has been developed by IIT. This has been developed by some of these government entities. It's being used by MHA. For obvious reasons, I cannot really expand much on that here at this particular point, but it has a lot of capabilities and it's used for crime detection. It's used in cases of cyber crimes, and it is used for various such purposes. Again, boosting is one thing which you can do. You can actually pay Facebook to boost some of your posts. So like let's say that you have only 1 lakh followers on your Facebook page, But if you if you pay Facebook to boost your this one, it will be shown to a lot of people. So they may even show it to 10 lakh people for very nominal rates. So that can be done, but then the ethics of boosting, etc., are something which is still under discussion in the government. Should you really pay? Should you really pay money for boosting? Should you really use taxpayer money? I mean, personally speaking, I don't think there is anything wrong, because if you are going to pay money for advertising in newspapers or TV channels, why not pay money to social media companies to boost your post so that it reaches more people? I don't see any problem. Now, ads on social media, I mean, I was with DAV when we started website advertising on websites. So now I think DAVP has come out. DAVP is called Central Bureau of Communication now. So the headquarters has actually, I think, come out with rates for advertising on social media platforms also. So I think your department can put out ads on social media for some particular campaign which you have in mind. Yeah. Next one, please.
So you have a lot of interesting slides. May I request you to be slightly quicker so that we don't overshoot the time?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'll just, this is something which is self-evident. So I think there is no need to go through it, except that you need to really know your audience and post depending on their age, your gender. You need to be on the correct social media platforms. Like for instance, you need to be on Instagram if you want to appeal to the youth. So that kind of thing. Next one, please. Yeah, and innovation is really important. So if you want to cut through the clutter, you really need to come out with innovative stuff. Innovative stuff means really nice graphics, really good photographs, and you need to schedule it at for different people at different times. That kind of innovation you really need to do. Yeah, next one, please. And of course, local languages are really important. English is saturated, Hindi is also saturated, but you really need to get into the local languages to reach out to people through social media. That is really important. You need to do that. Yeah, next one, please. And you need to really use I'll dwell on this a little bit because it's my favorite topic. We are always using file language in our social media posts. We use stuff like employment opportunities for jobs. It's just jobs. Similarly, you say you build a house. You don't say you construct a house. So English is actually split between Anglo-Saxon words and Latin words, and Anglo-Saxon words are easier on the ear and they're more colloquial and they sound better on social media. So always try to use, just like Hindi is split between Urdu, words of Urdu or Persian origin and words of Sanskrit origin, and the ones, so like that, English is split between Latin and Anglo-Saxon words. So I would advise you to go for the Anglo-Saxon words. And of course, you avoid stuff like cliches. Security has been beefed up, for instance, bilateral discussions between two countries. This is all MEA jargon. So I'm sure that jargon must be there. We really need to use good language. Yeah, next one, please. Yeah, and there is this rule that no video, however interesting, is watched beyond 40 seconds. This is the normal rule in the entire media industry. So I would always say that edit your videos to 40 seconds and don't go beyond that. But try to put in videos, because the Twitter algorithm or the Facebook algorithm favors video. So there will be more engagement if you add video in your posts. Yeah, next one, please. Yeah, and photos need to have human interest. You need to have people looking at you through the photo. That's really absolutely important. So just having long shots of your ribbon cutting or your functions are not going to be interesting to the listener or to the viewer of your social media post. Yeah, next one. Yeah, and graphics are important. Nowadays, you have a lot of really easy to use graphics. So you can download it from the social media and use those graphics. Of course, if you want professional graphics, you need to hire a graphic designer who's familiar with CorelDRAW and Photoshop and use them. Yeah, next one. So you can increase engagement. You have to tag influencers. So if they retweet you, you get a lot of impressions. Or if they share your post, you get a lot of impressions. So you can always ask for retweeting, for sharing your post. Use the trending hashtags of the day. Whether you're posting on Instagram or Facebook, always see what are the trending hashtags and use that. That increases engagement. Yeah, next one. Yeah, I mean, humor is very difficult, but if you can do humor in a government post or in a private post, it always puts across your department as being a very soft and very engaging department, very human department. So it's nice to do that. So image is very important on social media. What kind of image you want to put out? So for instance, the Rashtrapati Bhavan wants to put out an image of being very authoritative, very solemn. So if you see their social media posts, they're like that. So if you look at railways, for instance, they want to put out as though they're very caring. The same goes for passport, MEA. They want to put out an image. So they are trying to put that out. Grievance redressal is one of the things. So your government, your department may want to put out an image as being somebody who's interested in redressing grievances. So image on social media is important. You need to cultivate that image. Yeah, next one. Yeah, this is the last one. So I have talked about almost all this, but the final thing is about trolls. Generally, don't respond to trolls. Don't engage trolls. You will see that, for instance, on our Prime Minister's Twitter feed, how much of trolling goes on. They never respond to it. On the Narendra Modi handle also, they don't respond to trolls. So don't respond to trolls ever. But yes, if anybody has a query which is honest, sincere, be helpful. You respond to them. If it's a query, they want to find out where to pay a particular tax or something like that, respond to them. That's it, I think, from me. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for a very comprehensive presentation. I mean, all your experience felt into these slides and the manner of your communication. I'm sure the participants would have a lot of questions to which we'll come back after Aditya makes his presentation. Before that, I would like to introduce our panelists, Mr. Ramesh Chandra. He is an officer of Indian Revenue Services of 1994 batch, currently posted as Principal Additional Director General at NASEN, New Delhi. He is an MBA in Marketing Finance and has done MA in Public Policy and Sustainable Development from TERI University, just as you, sir. And he has also got Certificate of Advanced Study Public Administration, CS, from Maxwell School, Syracuse University of USA. He has attended many international conferences representing India, published papers, and has been lauded for his work by many letters of appreciation, including FM Letter of Appreciation by DDG CEIB. He has worked as ADG at CEIB as Director, DOR, and also as Commissioner of Customs Export, and CGST and Central Excise in Mumbai, where I happen to know him personally. And along with Mr. Ramesh Chandra, sir, you may like to say hello to the audience so that they can see you. I would like to introduce Mr. Ashir Tyagi, 1994 batch officer, who started his career from Baroda and has the opportunity to work in different capacities in Gujarat and Mumbai. Just like me, he's a doctor, MBBS from KGMC, and MS and Lucknow. And he's currently working as Additional Director General at the Zonal Training Institute of NASEN, Baroda. With this, now I'd like to invite Aditya Yadav, 2014 batch IRS officer, currently working as Deputy Director, Zonal Training Institute, NASEN, New Delhi. He is a BCom, LLB, and a company secretary, and a fellow member of Institute of Company Secretaries of India. Prior to working with the government, he has worked with a lot of private institutions for 10 years, PwC, ENY, Moser Bayer, Red Fox Hotels, Tripura Forest Plantation Development Corporation, and so on. He has been awarded the Excellence Certificate for Exceptional Work in GST by the Finance Minister in 2018, also awarded the WCO Certificate of Merit in 2020. Since July 2014, when he started working as a nodal officer between PMO and CBIC at the launch of the GST, he has been handling the CBIC social media and also the nodal officer for all social media grievances. With this, I would like to invite Aditya. Aditya, I would like to, we have requested him to talk about the common problems faced by our department, what to post, how to post, what are the common errors which have happened, and how to do it properly. Aditya, please.
Thank you, sir. at the outset, first of all, sir, respected Principal Chief Commissioner, Vadodara Zone, Vivek Ranjan sir. Sir was the one with whom I started this work in 2017 and learned a lot from the sir. I take liberty from Verma sir, Ashir Tyagi sir, and Ramesh sir that you will save me from a memo if I get on sharing this presentation, because my presentation will be full of humor and it will be a report card for all the CBIC zones. So, sir, you are my safeguard. Kotianji, we would like to share our presentation. Please give us presenter rights.
It's already with you.
Okay. Narayanan sir, I was hearing to your presentation, one or two instances till my presentation is shared, I will share with you. Regarding handling of personal handle and professional handle, we had an interesting incident recently. One of our Twitter handles, CRCL Vadodara, they posted at 11 PM in the night that the toilet are not clean in XYZ Express. So this is a common problem when you are handling both the handles. Public, official as well as the personal and officer need to be careful.
So you may like to make it full screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
F5 double.
Considering the time I have been given, I asked Verma sir for giving me 6 hours. He has given me 30 minutes. I will try to put in best what I can do. And also, sir has requested me to suggest, give demo, etc. of how to open an account. I'll give that also. And our presentation would also focus on what Narayanan sir was saying theoretically. We will show it practically what CBIC is doing. Just a brief overview of the social media policy of Government of India. We have a centralized policy made by Ministry of Information and Technology. 3 key features of the policy are voice to all. So this voice to all means that this platform is open for whole world. And this is, I would say, a largest grievance handling mechanism in government at the moment. Then what Narayanan sir said that in government, generally the replies come after 2 days, 3 days regarding the hierarchy he was saying. We have this immediate outreach, what the policy outlines. In CBIC, we are lucky that our issues are so burning that our replies on those burning issues go out maximum in 2 hours. And third is the 24/7 engagement, due to which I may get divorced from my wife, because I am 24 hours monitoring what the issues are on the CBIC Twitter handle. Next slide.
Next slide, please.
Yes, sir, we are trying. Just my next slide, just what I want to say till they are solving it. So social media has blurred all boundaries of communication. And this perspective, I would also like to bring in terms of working here in CBIC. So now a principal chief commissioner and a inspector ACDC, all are equal, means all have equal presence. They have an equal role, and you don't know who can outshine on social media. So when we request the zonal chief commissioner sirs that please give us a nodal officer who is firstly energetic and who is passionate. So what Narayanan sir was saying, that this work is all about loving your work. So we need an officer who is not a typical Sarkari, what sir was mentioning as Sarkari, because this is more of a private type of function. Next slide. So when I joined, my first role in handling a Twitter handle was CGST Delhi zone. and I asked where are the Twitter password. So it was said that it is kept in a file and it stays in lock and key. Once a while, when a tweet is to be done, it is approved on the note sheet and a tweet is done. So I was quite surprised. If this is the position for Twitter, then it is equal to a normal routine press release or a file work. Now, how times have changed and how work culture has changed, I'll show a small video. This is a video of a communication in the recent 60 years customs program. Just hear it out, what finance minister is saying to chairman CBIC, and then I'll move on.
Stop there.
Verma sir, every time I play a video will go out and then again come to the screen.
Sure.
So hear it carefully. Sir, is it audible?
No.
No.
We can't hear it.
Okay, sir. नहीं आप राउट सोर्स में ही वो नहीं आ रही है नहीं इसमें है. So sir, there is a technical glitch. I will tell what FM was saying. In the recent 60-year program, madam was saying that today morning chairman sir shared a link with her, shared a newspaper article with madam, which he had written on the 13th December. But she said that he didn't share the link with me, and I wanted to tweet it. How would I tweet it? So, आप presentation पे आ जाओ, छोड़ दो video. So she said that this is the difference. What I want to highlight is this is the difference, that the discussion at the senior level has gone to this level, that the Twitter discussions are a thing of normal discussions. And when we say that younger officers should be conversant, I say that the pressure is equal on the chief commissioner and above level also. So FM specifically said that Vivek didn't share the link with me. So, and I wanted to tweet it. Let's move to the next slide. This highlights the importance of Twitter. I'm sorry, sir, that the video didn't work. I'll share it with you.
Sure.
This slide, because Vivek sir has already discussed about the social media platform presence of CBIC, I would say that sir was saying that this is comparatively low in comparison to railways or other organizations. But I would say that for a subject which is so technical in nature, tax is a very boring subject. The following follower list is quite high, and to prove it, I also checked it with Customs Border Protection Force, US, New Zealand, Australia. So in terms of the taxpayer base, this following is quite high. I'll move to the next slide. In CBIC, we have zones and directorates on Twitter. We have 32 zones who are present on Twitter. Then we have also certain non-sensitive directorates like NASEN, DGTS on Twitter. The sensitive directorates DGGI and DRI, their presence has been restricted at the moment as a policy, and any tweets on their part CBIC only does. Next slide. So now I'll start with what Verma sir requested, that I'll आप वो view पर कर दो उनका, मेरे को देखने दो. So first of all, let's discuss how to make a Twitter account. It's pretty simple. That let's go to the website of twitter.com and then go to the option of create your account, put your name, phone, email, and password. Ashif Tyagi sir, it also asks for date of birth, but be assured it remains hidden. So when Twitter, now in this, the problem is that Twitter name and Twitter handle are two separate things. Always try to make a simple Twitter name so that it is visible or it is easily traceable to the people. In case you wanted something different, so Rajesh sir, if I take example of Kaushik, my batchmate who did the last session with you, Kaushik has put an interesting Twitter name @Kauma. So if you want to stay hidden, then it's other case. But otherwise, at the organizational level, try putting handle names which are traceable. Next slide. So then comes, once your account is created, the question comes whom to follow. At the private personal level, whole world is open for you. But at the organizational level for CBIC, we have made certain mandatory following list, which is shown here, President of India, etc. We categorize 8 VIPs because we monitor their tagging in terms of grievance also. Then on the left side, what is visible as CBIC Twitter handle page, here I will one by one show what it means. So first is your Twitter profile photo where we put CBIC logo, and all zones also are directed to put CBIC logo. I would urge zones and commissionerates who are in this session that let's leave the earlier logo of customs and central excise. The correct CBIC logo is shown on the screen. I'll show some examples that still old logo is visible on certain handles. Then the top side, what is shown as is the Twitter cover page. So cover page is generally visible when you go inside the profile. Your Twitter profile photo is visible to everyone, but the cover page is visible to the person who goes inside your profile. For 3 years, we kept it as CBEC, CBIC now, then came COVID, then a mandatory direction came from PMO to have the vaccination this cover page. Now it has also gone. So we have created one where we showcase all CBIC functions. Then comes your bio. So bio is very crucial. In this, in limited 100 words, it shows what the organization is about. Next slide. For zones, we have also made a not to follow list. Last slide. For zones, we have a not to follow list also. This is a following list of one of the zones which I am not naming. So if you see, there are a lot of private persons, then there are political person, and also there are certain Twitter handles which are providing GST information, or these are chartered accountant handles. We suggest not to follow them, because what happens, especially during due dates, these Twitter handles provide wrong information that due date is extending, and zones without noticing it sometimes retweet it. So it is advisable not to follow them. Next slide. Now, what I was suggesting about the CBIC logo to be kept. Now there are still some handles who put their commissionerate photo. There are some handles who put like Air Customs Bangalore, that Bangalore Customs welcome you. We have like Nagpur Custom and CGST Jalandhar who still have the old CBIC Central Excise logo. So to have an consistency across CBIC formations, all have been directed to have a CBIC logo. Next slide. Now some basic Twitter terminology. Tweet. So tweet is what we mention in the tweet means what we tweet, it is a 280 character thing. Then retweet is if we share somebody's tweet and it gets visible on our timeline. Then we have a quote tweet thing, which I'll show in the next slide. Then we have Twitter followers. So Twitter followers are those who follow you. And hashtag. Hashtag were created that firstly, they create a trend on Twitter. Secondly, it also helps us in making analytics. So if suppose special campaign 2.0, which was recently organized by DARPG regarding Swachhta. So all zones, if they were putting hashtag special campaign 2.0, then centrally DARPG was able to create analytics, how many tweets have been done and which organization has done. Interestingly, CBIC was on the top in that campaign. Next slide. Now let's come to what is reply and what is quote tweet. Reply is given to a person which is visible to him only. So this is a one-to-one between us. Means if this person Sachin Kalbak tweeted that customs is charging duty, excessive duty, and we responded to him, now only this is visible to him. Quote tweet comes when we respond a person or share a person's tweet and write something. Now in this scenario, this will be visible to the whole world. Whole world means our followers. So recently this tweet is of 14th Jan, when one of the person in Mumbai, this lady CHA, she said that customs, there were certain searches on the part of BIS regarding the toys, and she was saying that customs is not monitoring and BIS is doing. So Indian Customs issued a clarification and it was quoted. Quote tweet has a multiplier effect. Quote tweet, because it is visible to everyone, once we tweeted, within 5 minutes this news article came in Telegraph that on the digital front that CBIC has given its point of view regarding the toys. So quote tweet is visible to all, reply is one-to-one. Next slide. Now adding some humor. So what I was suggesting about Twitter handles, 7 days back this article came in Hindustan Times that one person, when he was ordering goods on Amazon, he gave his address गांव से 1 kilometer पहले. So this was a hilarious address because it was not specifying, and if we see person has written that once you reach 1 kilometer before my village, call me and then I'll come. Similarly, if we come to our Twitter handles, if the intention of an organization is that no one can search us, then we can have such handles like GST _ Seva _ YZ. So means firstly, if you add an alphanumeric character to your handle, it gets further difficult in searching you. Question now comes on us, why we have kept CBIC _ India. So on this, I would say that there is a cancer organization in Canada which holds @CBIC. We can't have that handle, so we have to use CBIC _ India. But the commissionerates or the zone, for zones we have mandated. Zones, if it is an individual custom zone, it has to have a handle. We have provided a description. If it is a consolidated customs and CGST zone, then like it is for Thiruvananthapuram, it is CGST CUS TVM. If it is customs Gujarat zone, then customs Gujarat zone. But at commissionerate level, zones will have to have a look. Now GST _ FBD COMMR, no one can in this world trace that this is a CGST Faridabad Twitter handle. Then what happens that there are certain nomenclature which are developed in our day-to-day working. So for us, airport commissionerates are generally airport and general. Now airport Gen CUS, can anyone guess which commissionerate Twitter handle is this? Airport Gen CUS. This is a Twitter handle of Delhi Airport. No one can easily search such a handle. Same way, on the personal front, I have given examples of 2 IRS officers whose Twitter handles are mentioned. And if you put so much Arvind K8207, hard to find. Next slide. On Twitter, on social media, what Narayanan sir was saying, that this is a work which needs interest. And I always request ADC CCOs to look out for that inspector, look out for that superintendent, look out for that ACDC who has that urge. Otherwise, वो Twitter password file में ही रखा रहेगा lock and key में. So in this, we have categorized zones into 3. We have super active zones. Now these super active zones give CBIC a challenge. Which cover Chennai custom, Delhi custom, every activity, every seizure, every search, they have a mechanism in place. I would request that you have that mechanism, means it is not to be done as a burden, means everything, there is a mechanism in place and tweak. I bet that the Twitter handle which Nasen has, not because I work here, there is no buzzing Twitter handle, no academy handle is so buzzing, daily 10 tweets. And across India, they showcase so much of activity because a mechanism in place. But if you keep it as a burden, it will not help. Then we have active zones. What super active zones do, they have their innovation mechanism. They come out more and more with their individual tweets. Then active zones, their strategy is also good, that you retweet CBIC regularly. It will also help in dissemination of information, and secondly, the handle looks active. So for example, my friend Kush Nahar, who is in the presentation at the moment, a few minutes back, his there was an exclamation mark on his joining, and it said Kush is not attentive. Kush, please take it in lighter mode. Then we have those occasional tweeting zones. So we have this zone whose last tweet was on 16th August. So in zone के लिए मैं कहता हूँ कि हम ही हैं तो हम हैं. Means when there's some activity, they do some activity which they feel exceptional, then only the tweet will come. Otherwise, we'll not find any retweet also. Next slide. Next comes how to draft a perfect tweet. Tweet has only 280 characters, and the tweet offers you the biggest challenges daily, how to write a pressy writing. So how to fit that whole word in 280 characters. Tweet need to be crisp and maximum information should be conveyed through it. Always remember, it is not a press release. It is what sir was saying as jobs and security has been beefed up. Everything here comes to your test. And every zone has those Shashi Tharoors who can draft a whole word in 280 characters. Twitter doesn't have that word of Shri, Shrimati, Kumari, Doctor, because we'll lose everything. If I start writing Principal, Additional, Director General, Directorate General of Taxpayer Services, Shri R.K. Verma, then after that, if I tweet this session, only what will be left would be organized A session. My 150 characters will be gone in this only. So don't shy, means even for Prime Minister tweets or the Finance Minister tweets, we write it in short, FM @ and mention it. We write PM. To the President of India, we are courteous. In that, we use Honorable President of India. Rest, you can be informal, because Twitter is not a mechanism where all Shri Shrimati is to be mentioned. So for example, if Vadodara zone, my example on the screen is that if Vadodara zone tries to mention Vivek Ranjan sir name, so much of text would be lost. And also what is happening, that central excise is not going out of our mind. I know it's there, but for Twitter purpose, you can be crisp, short and sweet, PCC@CGST Vadodara Zone. Then don't make the body of the tweet too crowded with Twitter handles. I'll show example in the next slide. Draft your tweets back. Draft your tweets in advance when you have bigger programs. So if you have, see, in this world of Twitter, photos and tweets are means they will get limelight only for 2 hours after the program. Rest it's lost. Gone is the world that शाम को photographer की photo आएगी, कल album बनेगा. All that is gone. In 2 hours, Rozgar Mela is over. Then comes the next event. So be fast, be quick. I have seen this problem in photos with many zones. Keep your data cards ready. Keep a laptop ready to take photo from the official photographer. If a Rozgar Mela is organized by Ministry of Railways and you have problem in placing your photographer, you have a very good thing in hand, mobile, click fast photos. If you have too much data, then make creatives. On this point, zones say that DGTS has whole lot of people making creatives. How we do? So I would say, sir, a simple PowerPoint presentation, save as JPG will give you everything. No need of going for fancy creatives. Use tagging option for photographs. I'll explain in the next slide. Here, I have shown 2 tweets which CBIC handle se humne kiya tha. If you see, there are so many senior officers present in both the tweets, but see how brief we have been to mention their presence and also the content. Next slide. Now I'll give you a live example. On the left hand side was the text which we received from DGTI for the DGTI conference which was recently held in Chandigarh, where you see the red mark pertaining. 280 characters get over here. What happens when an organization conducts any program or training, their emotions overflow in writing, but they just throw data. Don't throw, just be crisp in that. So how this data was made crisp in a small manner is on your right side. The final tweet was this, and all those things like SNU, DG, ADG, you have to manage it. Next slide. This is one option which many zones are still not clear about. And today I would like to clarify what is this tag option. See the first tweet from CGST and Customs Vizag zone. On the face of it, the tweet is so bulky and user would never get his eyeball attention on such a tweet. Firstly, it's so much text rich in the photograph, and what you have in the body of the tweet is only the Twitter handles. Secondly, CGST Ranchi zone, if you see, they have mentioned so many Twitter handles, which the space which they could have used for putting more text. So where does this tagging option comes? What you see on the right side, once you put a photograph, there comes an option of tag people. Use this option to put, it gives you an option to tag 10 handles. Use this option for tagging instead of wasting your space in the body of the tweet and also adding more, making it more visible, more eye-catchy. Next. So appearance is the key in a tweet. What happens? Let's see this first tweet on the left side. What is visible in the photo is only tables and biscuits. I agree that if we click on the tweet, then go inside the photograph, the full photo will come. But here, what is visible, and that too first photo of a tweet, biscuits and plates. what happens generally if you take the photos from a mobile in a horizontal manner, the photos are longer and their appearance comes in this manner. It is suggested that you take them in vertical, or if you have taken in a horizontal manner, crop them. Now let's see the second tweet. First tweet mentions about seizure and the second tweet gives the 4 pictures. See, user is in a thread always more interested in your first tweet. And these 4 photographs could have been in the first tweet itself, which would have made it 1000 times more attractive for the user. Here it came in 2 tweets, and this generally the user doesn't go to the second tweet. Next slide. Next slide. What Narayanan sir was emphasizing, and we also tell zones, is to use more and more vernacular. So what happens that you get more local eyeballs if you present it in vernacular. Mumbai zone, CGST Mumbai zone, once they make a case, they make an arrest, they put it in all 3 languages, Hindi, English and Marathi, which is quite innovative and appreciated also. Next slide. Now, what here I mean by ghar ki baat ghar mein rehne do, what Narayanan sir was saying about the capacity building commission, I was also recently making them a presentation on the grievance mod, how we handle grievances in CBIC. Please realize that a taxpayer has to go through a lot of pain in terms of day-to-day grievances. Let me give you an example of GST. If it is a login ID password issue, he has to go to GSTN. If it is a issue related to his filing, he has to go to CBIC Mitra. Now he has two platforms. He keeps on asking them, tweeting to both of them, and both of them ask for his ticket number. What we tell zones and commissionerates, that DG system is our own organization, and our own problems we don't bring out on Twitter. So we don't tell a taxpayer on Twitter that we have raised a ticket on CBIC Mitra, but it is pending with them. Don't make DG system something which is outside the organization. CBIC is one. So in that terms, if you see this reply from CGST Jodhpur, and it is quite common. We have seen this from many commissionerates that they say it is the problem of DG system and they write it on Twitter. The problem is that now once you write it on Twitter, it is visible to him and world, and then they will start trolling us. This is to an example of text. Even range officers ask taxpayer to take screenshot of his AIO and put on Twitter. Please don't do such things or tell taxpayer about what is internal. You have mechanism of raising tickets. You have mechanism of escalating it. So what I mean by this is that what is internal to the organization is to be not mentioned in the reply. Next. Advanced planning gives maximum happiness. Now, what I mean with this is that, for what I was saying about your bigger programs, plan them in advance. First example I would like to give of Rajesh Verma sir only, that during COVID, our facilitation was on peak, and sir organized a session on COVID facilitation and any queries which you have related to import consignments. We had a lot of issues on the Aam Aadmi front because queries were coming for a single concentrator. So sir patched in courier also and the cargo zones as well. Then MOS Shri Anurag Thakur, he was so much interested in this session that he specifically tweeted it. And this session, due to his tweeting, got so much attention, and many individual queries were being forwarded to Verma sir. So he gave this poster in advance 5 days, and when he got it tweeted, he had more people attending his session. Same way, recently Mumbai Customs 3, they organized a drug destruction campaign. 140 kg drugs were being destructed. Zone informed 3 days in advance. We requested PIB Mumbai to capture the event. Interestingly, 1 day in advance, before the drug destruction itself, it was so much in papers that tomorrow there will be drug destruction. It generated so much interest. And when actual destruction happened, Honorable FM and MOS both retweeted PIB Mumbai. See, PIB, AIR, DD and ANI, they are our brothers for multiplier effect. Be in touch with all your local PIB always. Keep them informed about your programs. I keep on writing in the social media group that tag your local PIB, tag your local PIB. Please be vigilant about your local PIB handle as well. Under Narayanan sir, there comes 7 PIB handles. So I always request Guwahati handle to tag all those 7. PIB Mumbai is a very active handle. So keep them informed, keep them tagged. Next slide. Now, on the lighter note, you may not get instant appreciation from your bosses, but you will get instant appreciation for good tweets on Twitter. So this is a secret which I passed on to you today. Keep tweeting, and FM is watching every of your tweet. The appreciations are visible on your screen. Madam has been kind enough to appreciate and retweet a lot of our seizures and good activities. So keep this as a secret formula, keep tweeting. My videos are not working, so I'll move to next slide. Last. Lot of time it is asked that we are a dull subject, we don't have anything to tweet, what we can do. So I give this example always. These are vegetables, and see how they can be transformed into a tweet. Next slide. So how well then MOS transformed these vegetables into a tweet which can generate a good public perception. Then MOS carried out a activity for food items for all the ports, wherever whatever was being imported. Verma sir, how much time more you can give me?
It is already 4:52.
Okay, sir. Sir, I'll move. I'll ignore some slides.
Try to be quick. I mean, whatever you think is essential.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Next. Back. नहीं, Rahul, back. So I'll be quick now. That what we share on social media is our day-to-day work. We have lots of information which we keep on sharing. Sir, what I will do, I'll move to the advisories which I would like to show to the officers as well as organizations, that where they can be careful. Just a brief overview of the social media grievance redressal, how we do it. When GST came, we had a new Twitter handle, Ask GST, which was giving all the replies on the technical queries and the grievances received. From 2017, we moved on to 2018, where DGTS used to handle this. There were 10 officers who were appointed and who used to reply. So as Narayanan sir was saying that mistakes happen, the demise of Ask GST Twitter handle happened in 2020, when a question was asked, what is the GST rate on buying and selling of MLAs? And this Twitter handle by mistake replied 18%. That was the day when Ask GST was gone. So we have taken off this Twitter handle because a lot of chartered accountants, lawyers were also using it as a medium for getting opinions. This Twitter handle was being quoted in court as well. Since 2021, we have the Kaizala mechanism. It is like a WhatsApp where we create jobs for the zones for every tweet grievance received, and zones have to redress it. Next slide. To the GST zones, I would like to say that the grievances received of state GST, see CBI, this is a dichotomy, I would say, that for all the good we do on the GST, all are getting good marks, means CBIC as well as states. But for the grievances side, only CBIC is the face of all grievances across India. Means there are no Twitter handles present, active Twitter handle of the states. So all grievances come to CBIC first. Honorable FM has, what Madam advised us in 2021 was that you have to acknowledge every grievance and then pass it on to the state. 90% of our, for example, 90% of our state GST registration grievances are of state. So we take it down, we mark it, we tell it on Twitter that it has been emailed to the state. So no zone can say that it is a grievance of state. You have to acknowledge it and then pass it on to the state GST officials. Next slide. Next. Next. Narayanan sir, I would like to share this slide with you because what happened during COVID, we were working 24/7 on the field as well as on the social media. We were fighting a battle of perception as well as facilitating, and there was a VC taken by MIB minister during that time, and CBIC was appreciated for their quick, responsive and sensitive tweets, which you can see on the slide which is given on the left side. And CBIC handle was also appreciated the way we were responding to each and every query and responding to all fake news. Next slide.
Yeah, I'm aware of this. Yeah.
Next slide. Next slide. Back. Up next. So now I come to a sensitive nature of problems. See what Narayanan sir was talking about the CCS conduct rules. We are seeing mistakes being made by organization as well as officers daily. So the extreme left tweet is common, is known to all of you, that where a bureaucrat tweeted his car photograph along with him when he went on an election duty, he was suspended. Now let's come to the one which is in the middle, and this is 2 days old. What Narayanan sir was saying, that don't think you are not being watched. The IT cells of every political party has a close watch on you, and a simple discussion on tweet also can land up in so much problem. So this officer, when he was tweeting what he has tweeted, it was taken up by Jairam Ramesh, and he shared it on his Twitter and then extensively by Congress. The officer deleted his Twitter account, but remember, these political parties, IT cell, they keep a screenshot. They are always ready, always on the watch. So what I say about be careful of Ram, Sita, Jodo, Todo, these are the words you must be getting my intent. Be careful. The third tweet is also by one of our officer, where this caste angle during the JNU issue was brought about. Be careful, be wary. The world of social media is such that organization will also be not able to save you once you get entangled in this. Next slide. Another IRS officer who got in a spat with Swara Bhaskar, and what he wrote was really unbecoming of a government servant. And then once she shared it, remember these stars, they have huge following. Once they share, you get visible to whole world. Next slide. One advice to the organizations that when we say you share maximum, don't go overboard. This is one example. Next slide. Here I didn't write anything, but I would say that be wary of the people you are calling for having sessions. So Kangana or Tapsi, I would not say you would get what I mean by it. So be wary of the taste of the regime around you. So this tweet on Yoga Day was done by one of the commissionerates, and instantly when this tweet was done, next slide, they were trolled like anything. 15,000 tweets by the IT cell of one of the political party, and problem was that now they were trolling CBIC as well. Tweet was deleted, but remember they will keep the screenshots. Next slide. We have so many associations. We all have some or the other grudge against our service, or we have our promotional aspects. So same way, Inspector Association, TA Association, they all write things which are not good in taste and lands them in problem. One example was this: the officer, he's the general secretary of the TA Association, was issued a memo. Next slide. Same way, these officers were writing something. This is a very good example that where you don't realize that what is your humor can land up in troll. They were. This was a case where in Chhattisgarh, one SDM slapped one person and his mobile fell down and it was broken. So two of our IRS officers, they wrote "थप्पड़ से डर नहीं लगता, mobile नहीं तोड़ना चाहिए था." So this became an aspect of trolling, and both of these officers had to delete their account. Be careful of your bios. These are certain bios. See what these political parties have a watch. We also have a watch. So see how this bio reads. So zones can counsel their officers that be careful of what all they are writing. Next one. We have these associations who run these hashtags, trends, all are under watch. Thank you, sir. Rajesh, sir.
Thank you, and I think now it's time to have the house open for questions. It's been an interesting presentation where I mean I think everybody saw what are the basic do's and don'ts. Even the aspect of opening an account, because I thought many officers are hesitant and they haven't opened an account like the people of my age. But yes, the new generation, they have been using it. I think there was a question also. Kotian, can you please read out the query?
Yes, sir. 1 second, sir. The first question which has come is, has the government been able to gain more trust of the public and journalists through social media? What are the benefits and disadvantages for the government to directly engage with the public in real time?
I think this has been addressed, the benefits and advantages. The first part, any of the speakers or panelists may like to take up? Benefits we have already discussed, so no point of repeating, especially when we are late.
Okay. Now one more question, sir. Sir, what should be the composition of a social media team within a department ministry? What should be counted more? Technical expertise, experience, or age?
I would respond to this that I am a company secretary and a lawyer. So firstly, no technical person is required for it. It is just common sense on Twitter. age, I would say that age gives age age gives you an edge in drafting those tweets, and the younger officers give you that that instant results. Means they will give you those fast bites, fast pick. Let me give you an example of Mumbai Customs. Mumbai Customs, they keep their tweets ready in advance for their programs, and their officers are so quick. One has the responsibility of giving photos, one has the is ready with tweets. So a optimum combination of both young and senior officers.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, one more question. Being on the social media has sort of cut the intermediary of media houses from the communication with public. Is it good?
Narayan, sir, please.
I would in fact say that the fact that organization is on social media has actually citizens actually feel that somehow there is more access. They feel closer to that person. I'll just give you an example. I go to this medical shop in which there is a young man. He's not very literate or something. He must be in his early 20s. So he was telling me that जब भी कुछ प्रॉब्लम होता है, मैं इमीडिएटली हमारा प्रधानमंत्री को लिख देता हूँ वो प्रॉब्लम के बारे में. मैंने बोला कि आई वाज अ बिट स्केप्टिकल. आई सेड कैसे लिखते हो भाई? वो तो मैं उनका फेसबुक पेज में जाता हूँ और उधर मैं डाल देता हूँ प्रॉब्लम के बारे में. So you can imagine. So they really feel close. So the person who's following Amitabh Bachchan on say Twitter, for instance, he feels that Amitabh Bachchan is talking to him alone and his closest thoughts. He doesn't know that Amitabh Bachchan has a 15-member social media team which is working 24/7. So it's actually like, for instance, PIB, we are not now reaching out only to the journalists. Of course, 99% of the journalists in the country follow our Twitter handle, but we are also reaching out to the public. So, in fact, it has reached a stage where all of us are directly communicating. We are not, the media, the mass media as an intermediary is gone. There's no mediation now. You're directly reaching out. This happens to political parties also. Now, for instance, I don't know to what extent you people know that DAVP's budget has really come down because ministries and the PMO are directly, they're having 70-80 million people on their social media. So they say that we don't need newspapers, we don't need advertisements in newspapers. We are directly communicating. On the Narendra Modi app, you have I think around 70-80 million people on Narendra Modi app. So they said we don't need. So actually the advertising budget of the government has gone down and is now probably the lowest in the last 10 years. Yeah, I think that's
interesting byproduct of the social media, the advertising budget going down. Ranjan, the next question.
Sir, that's it, sir. Over to you, sir.
The participants, if anybody wants to raise any questions, you may raise the hand, and Mr. Ranjan Kotin can allow you to unmute and raise the question here. If there are not any questions, I would only ask our panelists, Mr. Ramesh Chandra, he would like to share his experience.
Yeah,
Chandra, sir?
thank you, Rajesh. I never expected that I would be benefiting so much from this webinar because you have tried to bring in the experts who have covered our principal Chief Commissioner, Sir Vivek Ranjan, sir. He has given the whole spectrum from a macro perspective. Dr. Narayanan, Shri Narayanan Saab, he has given his viewpoint from the conduct rules point of view, and Aditya has covered the to-do things, operational things, which would be useful for everyone watching the program, connected in the webinar. My experience is that I'm a public policy student like Dr. Narayanan, and I did a public policy course. So my take is that I worked as a director, coordination in the Department of Revenue. I could see this, how media took shape when GST was coming, GST was in offering, when the legislation and 101st amendment that was being done. So I would see that my revenue secretary, immediately after the GST Council's meeting, Dr. Hasmukh Kadia, he would come, he would make a small brief, and every day he would spend considerable time in ensuring the content and immediately the deliberations and the outcome of GST Council's meeting that would be relayed all over. And secondly, in Mumbai also, while we were working in field, I could see that with respect to the grievances handling, it is a very, very effective tool, whether it is refund case, drawback case, or any other personal related case. So whatever comes in our Twitter or Facebook, that gets immediate attention. So another thing is the Pragati and e-Samiksha things that were started by in 2014, a great initiative by the PMO. So when they know that there was a refund case of income tax pending for more than a year, and then when Honorable PM is taking the meeting, Pragati meeting, which used to be held on every third Wednesday or Thursday, then all those tweets relating to grievances that would be compiled together by the CBDT, or whenever there was a turn of CBIC, those grievances, and those got immediately resolved. So this is the power, this is the effectiveness. And United Nations also, out of the 8 indicators which are the good governance indicators, measure of good governance. So immediate responsiveness, efficiency. So these are few of the 8 indicators. So this fulfills all those criteria. And I'm sure that our department has been using it for operational domain and for the real solution and resolution of the issues. And in the decision-making process, the only need which I feel is that it has to percolate down. Like we learned about how to open the account. Many of the senior officials of our seniority, they generally don't feel the need to have this account. But now the time has come when it has become imperative that we should be seen more and more, and our actions and our outcomes and our whatever activities that we are doing, that should be given due publicity and due coverage in the social media like Twitter and Facebook, etc. And thank you so much for inviting me, and it was a great learning for me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words.
If I can just briefly intervene in one of the questions which was asked. It was
Please.
about what could be the composition of a social media team, what would be the ideal composition of a social media team. You see, I am now 55, and all I learned from social media is from my younger batches of information service, 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we at our age cannot beat the youngsters at the technical level because they are born with social media. For us, still it's acquired skill. So I can provide editorial skill, editorial oversight. I can provide the administrative, financial, that kind of editorial line, etc. But it's the youngsters who need to drive social media. So you need a composition of age, experience, and the youngsters. And finally, you need experts for editing a video. You need experts for doing a beautiful graphic on Photoshop or CorelDRAW. So the Bible says that the workman, his worth is higher. So as social media, you need to polish your product for you to get engagement. So really nice video with all kind of special effects or a really dynamic graphic is really worth the money you're spending on hiring a professional graphic artist or a video editor. So you need all the 3 elements. That's my view on that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It's great to have such a team right from starting with the address of the Honorable Chief Commissioner, who gave a comprehensive coverage, followed by you, Mr. Narayanan, who gave the bird's eye view of the whole social media working, and specific problems by Aditya, and now Mr. Ramesh Chandra sharing his experiences. And Ashit Tyagi sir, would you like to say anything, or if there are not any other questions, we go to a formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Rajesh. It's been great listening to Aditya and Mr. Narayanan, and I'm in between jobs right now, so I just make it a sure thing that I should drop in between. I'll be just. It was such a great joy to listen. Thank you.
Thanks. If there are no further questions, sir, we would like to formally close the program with a vote of thanks. Sanjay, please.
Good afternoon, all. I'm Sanjay Kumar, Assistant Director, DGTS Mumbai Zonal Unit. On behalf of DGTS Mumbai Zonal Unit, I extend my sincere thanks to Sri Vivek Ranjan Sir, Principal Chief Commissioner, CGST Ahmedabad Zone, for delivering the inaugural speech for today's webinar. Thank you, sir, for sparing your precious time and for delivering such an informative and insightful inaugural address. I express my sincere gratitude to our panelists, Sri Ramesh Chandra Sir, Principal ADG, Nasin, New Delhi, and Sri Asir Tyagi Sir, ADG, Nasin, Vadodara. Thank you, sir, for addressing the webinar. My heartfelt thanks to both our speakers, Sri B. Natarajan Sir, DG, PIB, NER, Guwahati, and Sri Aditya Singh Jadhav, DD, Nasin, JTI, New Delhi, for giving such an elaborate, insightful, and informative presentation. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I would like to thank the officers of Nasin Vadodara also for providing assistance in organizing this webinar. Now, with the kind permission of Principal Chief Commissioner, sir, and ADG, sir, I would like to bring this session to an end, sir.
I think we can end. Thanks one again. Thanks to one and all.
And
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
ठीक है ना? हाँ हाँ